Am I the a-hole for refusing to forgive my ex so his mistress can have him? I don't know how to start this. It's very complicated and intertwined, and I'm very bad at putting my feelings into words. And even if I did, I don't want to make this too long for you guys. So I will try to compress it to a few paragraphs, and I will answer any questions for additional details that you deem necessary. My husband and I had some marital issues after the birth of our second baby. There was no lack of love or affection, at least that's what he told me. We still loved each other, and we were basically just in a rough place. My husband met his now girlfriend at work, and I guess he developed some form of feelings for her and her for him. He came to me one day and said that he loved me so much, but that he wanted a break for a few months because we needed to work on our issues separately. I was heartbroken, but I agreed thinking we were going to work out our marriage. Not a week later, I heard he was sleeping with another woman. I filed for divorce and I haven't seen him since. This was all 3 years ago. Our divorce was finalized 2 years ago. He has tried throughout the years to get in contact with me, but I refuse to even open his emails because I miss him and I know what he would be saying. Empty sorries and apologies. For me, he cheated, even if not everyone agrees because we were on a break. His girlfriend contacted me, now asking me to forgive him because according to her, he is refusing to make the relationship official. According to her, they love each other, but he is refusing to propose or start a family with her because he feels guilty about what he's done to me. He tells her they didn't deserve happiness, and she thinks it's all my fault. I just wrote, "Please don't contact me again," and blocked her on Facebook. She used alternative account and wrote that I'm bitter and vindictive. Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my ex's mistress play family with him? How's that even on me? Now for the top comments. I think your ex-husband has zero interest in marrying this woman and is using the whole forgiveness thing as a way out. I wonder what would happen if you said, "Sure, I forgive him." One thing I don't understand is his relationship with the children you had together with him. Does he not see them at all? I drop them at daycare on Friday every third week, and he has them for a week. Then he drops them the Friday after, and I pick them up. On many occasions, I have help from my family. We have a conversation about the children on text, and I don't answer anything if it's not about the children. He can also communicate with my mom. He has stopped texting about anything else but the children now, for the last year or so. Wow, what a nightmare. I still think that he has no interest in marrying this woman and is using you as an excuse. Not the a-hole. I'm very proud of you for divorcing. Too many people will put up with this misery. And sorry, but my opinion is, when you are married and on a break, you are still married. So his cheating isn't okay. You thought you were going to reconcile. There was no conversation about seeing other people. You don't owe him or his girlfriend anything, and the fault is his. He cheated while you were thinking you were working on your marriage. Just ignore these fools. The absolute nerve of his freaking mistress to contact you ever is unreal. And the fact that it's about asking you to forgive him? I am stunned. Hopefully she wears a diaper to help absorb all that audacity. Ignore the two of them forever. Next story. Am I the a-hole for leaving my husband and his daughter? I didn't know how to title this, but let me give you a backstory. My 37 male husband and I, 35 female, raised his 13 female daughter in a nice gated community. We are an outgoing family that likes to do fun things, like camping and traveling. My stepdaughter and I have a great relationship. She's like a daughter that I never had. My husband had a previous marriage, but that didn't work out because his ex-wife cheated on him and kicked him and his daughter out months after his divorce. That's when I met him with his little daughter. It was a horrible thing that a woman did to them. I never met her, but did see a picture of him and her on their wedding day. The other things that he told me was that she kicked him and their daughter out because he was making enough money for their family and she slept with a guy from a random bar. One day, I was cleaning my husband and I's bedroom because we were going camping that day. My husband and our daughter left to get some snacks for the trip. I found my husband's phone on the dresser. I left it where it was because he leaves it at home a lot. I heard his phone ring at the last minute, so I ignored it. My husband and I aren't fans of going through each other's phones. His phone went off again and it irritated me. I know what I said about going through your partner's phone, but I just want to know who called. So I unlocked his phone, clicked the caller profile, and now I'm trying my best to give you guys all the details. I see that the unknown number was texting my husband sweet things, and I could see my husband's messages too. Who is this person? My husband never talks to anyone I don't know without telling me. If I told you guys who was in those messages, you wouldn't believe me. There were pictures of my husband's ex-wife. I'm confused. Why is he talking to his ex? I looked at all the messages, even the one when she asked about their daughter. I was surprised that my husband was still talking to his ex. I got to the end of the message. They've been talking for 7 years without my knowledge. Their messages contained sexual flirting, like asking about each other's private parts and intimate stuff. There were deep pics and her private pics as well. It made me disgusted that he was doing this. If you guys are wondering, it is possible to still have old messages for years longer. And yes, I know what you guys are going to say. She's the biological mother, but I've been raising this girl since she was 3. So yes, I am hurt to find out he was talking to his ex behind my back. I feel really dumb that this was going on behind my back. He told me he wouldn't speak to his ex again after what she did, and I believed him. I am upset that he didn't tell me about his ongoing relationship with her. There's nothing wrong with her asking about her child, nothing at all, but I feel betrayed by him. Before my husband and his daughter came back, I left with only my purse. I need to take a break, but it feels like I'm doing something wrong. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. OP, I feel for you. You must be devastated. I can't imagine ever trusting your husband again. Protect your money, paperwork, etc. that you will need to start your solo life. If he is capable of this level of betrayal, he is capable of things that may surprise you. Protect your relationship with your daughter. You have rights. She is old enough to know who she wants to spend time with. Don't let your ex use her to keep you in the relationship. Good luck. Please keep us updated. Thank you. You're very kind and thoughtful. I will always love my daughter even if her dad and I aren't on speaking terms. She has a ballet performance coming up, and I want to tell her then, but that might ruin her moment. He's been cheating on you for 7 years. You know what to do. It's just hard. Yes, it's very hard because he was my first everything, and I hate myself for still loving him. Not the a-hole, but please let the daughter know that you are leaving because her father did something unacceptable, and that it has nothing to do with her, and that you would be open to meet her independently if that's the case. You just cannot live with her dad anymore. Yes, this. She was already abandoned by her mother, and now she's facing losing you. This may lead to severe issues. I'm not saying to not leave your husband. He's an a-hole. I think there is more to that story than OP actually knows. Sounds like a lot of lies and manipulation going on here. Edit. By the way, my stepdaughter has nothing to do with her father's wrongdoing, and I will still continue to love her. For those who think I am wrong for leaving, then I don't know what to tell you. It might scar her if I tell her, but I don't just want to leave without explaining my reasoning. I will update you guys on anything that happens. I'll be staying with my mom for the time being. Please give me feedback. I don't know what to do. Next story. Am I the a-hole for asking my daughter to beg my husband to rethink the divorce? I'll admit it straight up. I could have handled things better with my husband. However, we have been married 24 years, since we were both 20. He is now 44 and I'm turning 45 in October. We have 3 kids, 17 female, 13 male, 10 female. My husband had a career in a field that he's been in for 20 years. He was on a rise, but then his company got bought up by another. He started coming home from work aggravated because of the new set of work politics he was dealing with. One thing led to another and suddenly he was laid off. The strain it took me made me unable to be at my mental best, so my work suffered too and I was put on a PIP at my data entry job. I was so down that when a supervisor asked me if I thought this job was working out, I just gave up and said no, and quit. My husband became distant. At one time, even slammed his hand on a desk and cried that it felt like a loser. Even me losing my job did not get him to react in any way. Finally, one night, even though he was in a bad mood, he approached me like he wanted to be intimate. That floored me, and all the bitterness bubbled on the surface. In the end, he was giving me blank okay responses. When I asked him to leave because we needed a break, he refused, saying this was his house too. He did nothing wrong. So the next day, I took the kids and used an emergency credit card to pay for an extended stay in a hotel. That's when my husband started blowing up my phone. But I put him on Do Not Disturb for my peace of mind. I ended up borrowing money so we could get a short-term apartment lease. My husband's tune changed when he realized I was getting loans. Even though I had cooled down some by the 1-month mark, he was now angry and was lapsed into a cold war. Then after 8 months, we began talking. By that point, he was no longer interviewing for jobs but decided to become an independent consultant and business was good. I decided to surprise him one day by sneaking into the house's kitchen and make his favorite dish. He coldly told me to leave and said I was so eager to leave this house back then. After that, he stopped talking to me and filed for divorce. I was flabbergasted because we had been going to family therapy and he said ideally the family should stay together. But now he's calling me a traitor and saying he can never trust me again, when again he acknowledged he was being distant. We went from planning to sit by each other for our daughter's dance competition to him only talking to me via lawyers. My oldest understands this divorce more than her siblings, and she has told me she has cried over her parents splitting. I told her I was so upset too, and her dad is being cold, out of maybe revenge. I was desperate and asked my daughter that next time she saw her dad to please beg, on behalf of the mom of his kids, to rethink divorce. He was throwing away decades at a family when I wanted to work things out. After my daughter did that, my husband said I was wretched and a manipulator. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Info. I don't understand. You left him for 8 months and are surprised he wants a divorce? We were working things out. The situation was become less stressful and I was willing to try. Even be his admin assistant for his new business. But I wouldn't have had to leave if he agreed we needed a break and got his own place. But he said no, this was also his house, and he apparently needed a stable place to apply for jobs, so he was not leaving. I'm confused as to how you can type out that you demanded your husband leave his home. Then you left him for 8 months, and now you're confused as to why he agrees with you that this marriage is over. Just the fact that you A, dumped all your adult feelings on your minor daughter and B, then put her in the middle of your divorce, suggests to me that you are the bigger problem in this marriage. What you did to her and are still doing is gross. So if I'm reading this right, you only wanted your husband back and made a play for him once he started making money again. Plus, before that, you basically quit your job while your family had no income and then blamed it on him. You racked up tons of unnecessary debt for your family. After all your husband wanted was some comfort from his wife. Yes, you're the a-hole. Big you're the a-hole. You are a traitor, and you are a terrible parent for asking your daughter to intervene in your horrific relationship. He's right. OP is a terrible wife too. Last story. I cut my hair very short to hurt my husband. Now he says I am the a-hole. We, female 26, male 29, married for 2 months, were at a dinner party at my husband's sister's, female 33, and I found out that my husband was in love with his sister's friend, Jasmine, female 33, for the longest time. I wasn't bothered by that. We met 3 years ago and we both had lives before we met. What I didn't like is how Jasmine kept touching and kissing my husband on the cheek and saying she regretted dumping him. I didn't know what to do, and I didn't want to make a scene since Jasmine was already drunk and loud, so I just tried to stand between my husband and her. After a while, Jasmine shouted, "Don't worry, if I wanted him, I could have had him." The music was loud, so not many heard Jasmine, just my husband's sister and me. My husband's sister kept telling Jasmine to shut up, but Jasmine said no, that I might as well know that she let me have him so I don't look this smug. I didn't say anything and I wasn't smug at all, but mortified. Then she stood so close to me and told me that my husband texted with her the day before our wedding, and if she wanted, she could have easily told him to call off the wedding. I was shocked. When we got home, I confronted my husband about everything, about the hugging and kissing. He said she was drunk, so he didn't know what to do. About calling me pathetic? She called me pathetic for following my husband around because I didn't know anyone there but sister-in-law, and I'm very shy. He just said that she was obviously jealous, so he didn't want to stoop to her level. About the texts before our wedding, he swore that they were innocent. He was nervous and she texted him, and he told her he was nervous and scared and nothing more. The texts were deleted. I was still very upset, and he told me he loved me and he was happy to have married me. I was still upset, so he told me to work on my self-esteem because I was being dramatic about a loser. I asked him if he would have married her if she didn't dump him, and he said yeah. Then he hastily said because I wouldn't have known you. I asked him if he did, would he have chosen her? He just sat silent. I have been crying all week, switching between anger and pain in my heart. My husband loves my hair, so I made an appointment today and cut it very short. And when he saw me, he was very angry and said I was an a-hole because I knew he loved my hair, and I cut it to get back at him. He called me a big baby and an a-hole. But I don't think I'm the a-hole, no matter the reason, because it is my hair and my choice. Sounds like you got a breakup cut before the breakup, instead of after. Everyone here might suck, and would do with some form of therapy. Learn to talk to each other. Also, screw that sad, sloppy witch. You should just laugh and brush her off every time she tries talking to you like that next time, and watch her melt down in front of everyone. Jasmine is pretty pathetic, that she's so desperate for the attention of someone she dumped who moved on. The husband is the biggest problem here, though, because he didn't stick up for OP or put up boundaries with Jasmine. This is absolutely a husband problem. If he had done anything he should have as a married man, then OP wouldn't be feeling insecure now. Sounds like your husband made a wrong choice going with you, to be honest, and may have just chosen you by default. Did you say anything to this lady? Or did you just stand by while this woman disrespected you and your husband? In any case, your response to the whole situation sounds like the clincher here that seals the deal for me. And that is to bury your head in the sand, cutting your hair like a muppet, switching between anger, crying, and a broken heart for a whole week? The situation may not have been your doing, but you handled this horribly, and if you were my wife, I would have lost respect for you. So we talked. He doesn't seem to think he made a mistake marrying me, because he apologized to me now and said that he will be better making his boundaries clear with Jasmine or any other woman in the future. He has explained himself well to me now in his texts, but he said he mostly felt disgusted, but he didn't want to make a scene, because she wasn't worth it. But that he should have understood that I couldn't read his mind to know that, and it must have been very difficult for me to get all this new information in one evening while socializing with people I didn't know. He apologized, and he said that she was a chapter in his life that he was embarrassed by and didn't feel the need to tell me about because it's nothing he wanted to take with him in his new life with me. Then he said that he loved me and that he thought I looked beautiful in my new haircut. So that's that.